Hi, and welcome to another episode of Miss B Teaches. I'm Miss B, and today I'm going to show you an anchor chart and another strategy that's really going to help you. Today we're going to talk all about story elements and why they're important and why it's important for you to know them. So the first question is, what's a story element? Let me tell you. A story element or the story elements are the important parts that make up a story. It is very important that as a reader, you are able to tell all of the story elements because that is how you can check to see if you know what happened in the story, and it helps you as a reader make sense of what it is that you're reading. If you can't visualize it, if you can't truly understand it to the point of being able to retell all of these elements, then you didn't really understand the story. So let's go over these elements so you know exactly what you need to tell the story elements of a story. So the first element is the characters. I have a movement for it, so I'm going to show you. You can follow along with me and do the movement, or you can just watch. So the characters are the people, the animals, or things that say something or do something in a story. Those are the characters. So we're going to do it one more time. They are the people, the animals, or things that say something or do something in a story. So that's one story element. So you want to think to yourself, when I'm reading a book, do I know who the characters are? The second story element is the setting. The setting is where or when the story takes place or happens. Again, the setting is where, so like a little house, or when, like the time, the story takes place or happens. So the setting could be at a school, in the forest, outside, inside. The setting could also be in the daytime, in the nighttime. If you're reading a bigger book and if you're like an older reader, an upper elementary, 4th, 5th, 6th, your setting could be in the past, in the future. This a time and location. The next story element is the problem. Now the problem is very important because all stories have problems, and you have to be able to identify that because the problem is going to affect your characters, it's going to affect your setting, it's going to affect every story element. It's going to affect your entire retelling. And sometimes there are more than one problem. So you as a reader have to be able to identify all the problems and, get ready for this, and you have to figure out what is the main problem. What is the big problem that's messing all of this up? So the problem is what goes wrong in a story. It's like things were together, but something went wrong. Or you could say the problem is what the character wants, what they need, but they do not have. So the problem could be seen as in two different ways. It could be what goes wrong in a story. It was together, then it broke. Or it could be what the character wants, needs, but does not have. Oftentimes, when you have a problem, you have a solution, but this doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes your books just end, and that is what we call a resolution. But today we're going to focus on the solution. The solution is how the problem is fixed or solved. The solution is how the problem is fixed or solved. So maybe that character got what they wanted, got what they needed. Whatever was broken is now fixed. The last story element that we're going to talk about is the plot. The plot is the sequence of events that take place in a story. So there are all the events that take place in the story. In the beginning, in the middle, and the end. In the beginning, in our plot, that's where we meet our characters. That's where we get the introduction to the problem. That's where we get our background information. That's where we get our initial or our beginning settings. In the middle, that's where we reach our rising action, where like the characters are trying to fix the problems, and we're going to see if there are more obstacles. Are the characters being successful? Then we reach at the top of our middle, our climax. That's when like the big thing happens. Either the problem has reached its biggest point, or the character that we thought was one way starts to change. But we get our big point, and then we get our solution, if there is a solution. And then as we reach our end, we have our falling action. Things are coming together. Things are being fixed. And then we reach our end, which is called our resolution. Resolution is just the story ended. So you can have books that have your solution, the problem is fixed, and your resolution because the story just ended. And the plot just keeps track of all of that. So when you're doing the plot, you really want to make sure that you're telling your story in order. Because if you're not telling your story in order, that's going to be really difficult for you as a reader to keep track of, did the problem get solved or didn't it? Were these characters good characters or bad characters? Where did we actually end up in the story? Where was our setting? Where is our location? That is why it's so important to tell your plot in order. Using all 5 of these elements can help you have a really great summary and a really great understanding of the book or the chapter that you read. So whenever you go off to read, please make sure that you can identify all 5 of the story elements. That's all I have for you today. Until next time, bye!